Hey, Black Lions and Black Lion families, appreciate you. I ask you to take a few minutes to listen to what I have to say today. And for those soldiers who make it all the way to the end, I've got a Donza for you this weekend. Feel free to take it 4 to 7 September. First of all, for all of our soldiers and some of our dependents out there who are recovering from COVID-19, once again, the Sergeant Major, myself, and all of our Black Lion soldiers wish you a full and fast recovery. So we're now just about entering our 6th month of life under COVID. And I can think back to the middle of March. It was actually during the 4-day with St. Patty's Day weekend when we brought the staff in over that 4-day weekend and realized that the way we received soldiers back needed to be different than a normal 4-day. And I think what everybody's determined now is that life under COVID is not fun. And we're at a point now where we don't see a quick end to this, and I think for many folks we don't see an end necessarily in sight in the near term. And that's now starting to kind of weigh on folks, in our mental health and everything else. I've been really amazed, shocked at some of the circumstances that our soldiers have gone through and some of the tough times our soldiers have gone through during these last 6 months. We've got one soldier who lost both his mom and his dad during this time, and not because the task force didn't support it, but he chose at the time not to attend the funerals based on what was going on, and instead wait for a celebration of life later on. We've had a lot of soldiers lose grandparents, other relatives, aunts, uncles, unable to spend the last couple of days with them in person. Lots of challenging experiences. We've got soldiers that have spent a lot of time in quarantine, and many through no fault of their own. I was talking to Sergeant Getty here, our amazing cinematographer, videographer, and he was telling me about one of his soldiers who spent almost 28 days straight in quarantine because he came back off a block leave, and because he went to a high-risk area, he did his 14 days like he should in the barracks, and then at the end of that 14 days, he started to display a couple of symptoms, and so then that bought him another 14 days out at the Fort Benning Recovery Center out at Camp Kelly Hill, and that's tough. And I think the days of thinking a 14-day quarantine was not so bad because you got to sit at home and play Xbox all day. That's not necessarily the case these days. And most people realize that going into quarantine is not something that's really all that enjoyable. On top of all this, right, there's just a lot of turmoil going on in our society and in the United States today. We've got heightened awareness. We've got a presidential election season, which just seems to bombard us with negative viewpoints from both sides, telling us how their platform is better than the other. Right? But it just results in this bombarding of negative information. And all this adds up and it can absolutely take a toll on our mental health. We've been fortunate. Inside the task force, we've had a few suicidal ideations and a couple of suicidal gestures in the last 30 to 45 days. And there's definitely been an uptick. And it's not just our soldiers, it's also some of our family members. And so I'm speaking to both our soldiers and our family members. One soldier I spoke with found himself in what we call the fatal second. And the fatal second is that moment in time where you make a decision as to whether you believe that your life is better living or that you see no hope potentially and that you don't think your life is worth living. And I'm very thankful that in that fatal second, this soldier made the right decision. And he put down the instrument and he picked up his phone and he called somebody. And he let somebody know that he was in a tough spot. And that person absolutely made the right call. And his battle buddy, we talk about suicide awareness training, and of course the acronym I think most people know is ACE, right? Ask, Care, and Escort, right? Well, he didn't need to ask because the soldier was telling him. but he absolutely cared for that soldier, and then he escorted him to professionals so that he could get the help that he needed. And that's a tremendous thing to do as well. This unit, our Army, our world, is better off with you in it. So I hope nobody out there thinks that they're going through such a tough time, or that their family, this organization, this Army would be better off without them, because it absolutely is not. We're all going through tough times. To reach out and to say, hey, I need help, that's a sign of strength. And when I talked to this soldier a couple days after he got released, he told me two things. One, that he was nervous. He felt like he let other people down. And the other thing that struck me was he felt like he ended his career because of what the stigma would be. And I can tell you that can't be further from the truth. Right? Him asking for help is absolutely a sign of strength. There are no career-ending moves for people who seek help when they're facing that dark time. I ask that if you find yourself facing a fatal second, phone a friend. Reach out. At the end of this video, we're going to list up many resources available both here at Fort Benning, all the way up to anonymous phone lines that you can call just to talk to somebody. And everybody knows Chappie Worstel, right? Great place to start, right? But if you can't get a hold of Chappie in the time that you need, right, there are other resources out there available. But better yet, before you potentially find yourself in that fatal second, if you find yourself walking down a lonely, dark path that you don't see any way out of, please reach out and seek some help before you find yourself in that fatal second. And I'm speaking to our family members as well. We need you on our team. We need you in this world. It's a tough time right now. Even with our children going back to school, for many, school is at the dinner table with 2 or 3 laptops out, and everybody's on their classroom with their teachers, right? But that's not giving parents a break. That's not allowing parents to go run around and do errands during the school day, right? There's a lot of emotional challenges that are associated with trying to be a teacher, trying to be a parent, right? And then trying to run a household. And for many, trying to have your own career as well. It's a challenge. And as much as we may look at people and think that they have their stuff together, right? Whether it be in person or even through social media or other mechanisms, right? Chances are they may not. They may just be good at hiding it. They may be that, challenged individual, but putting outward a great facade. And that's exactly what that soldier that I spoke with told me. He said that he was very good at showing a happy-go-lucky face to everybody else. And this affects everybody. Tough times, mild depression, anxiety, right? It doesn't follow a rank. It doesn't follow a gender. It doesn't follow a race, right? In the last 6 months, I've not been happy under COVID conditions as well. I just had to tell my nephew this past weekend. He asked me back in February if I would marry him and his fiancée down in Florida in November over over Veterans Day weekend, and I was super excited. I went out there. I'm an ordained minister online, so if you need somebody to marry you, feel free to give me a call if Chappie Worstel's not available. But I was super excited. I wrote my words, to marry my nephew and his my soon-to-be niece-in-law. But I just had to tell him this past Sunday that I don't think I'm going to be able to make it because of the sacrifice that it would take to the unit, right, and what I need to do as a leader. So the truth is, we're all going through tough times. You are not alone. Soldiers, family members, reach out for help if you need it, right? And if you happen to be doing well, take an opportunity. Keep your eye out, not just on your soldiers, but on your battle buddies, and maybe even listening to conversations, maybe some of their family members. Right? Reach out and call somebody on a Saturday night and ask them how they're doing. Not what they're doing, right? Because chances are they should be at home probably watching the 15th version of Tiger King, right? But reach out and ask how they're doing. Just have that conversation. You never know. You may save somebody from walking down that lonely, dark path. So we're going to end this video here. First, I want to thank you if you made it to the end. We're all in this together. The end is not necessarily in sight just yet, so we've got a ways to go. Let's do our part. Let's do our individual responsibility so that we can help end this the spread of COVID, right? And we can get back to a little bit more version of normalcy in our lives. But if you're facing tough times, please reach out, ask for help. And if you're not facing tough times, please reach out and help somebody else. Take care of each other, and hopefully someday we'll get out there and hunt with the pack.